organization, which is a fantastic organization focused on peer-to-peer coaching for entrepreneurs of all levels. And we have a wonderful group in Los Angeles. And a lot of the people from that group have joined us on this call. We've also decided to invite the community to this call because we feel that giving back to the community, especially in these times, is really important. I've been part of Entrepreneurs Organization as a banking executive. We formed a strategic alliance with Los Angeles 3 years ago. And so I've gotten to know the organization from a banker's perspective. And as an entrepreneur, I've been an entrepreneur since 1988, owning manufacturing companies and in transportation here in the United States and abroad. With us today, we have Alan Gutierrez, a dear friend who's an executive at the Small Business Administration in Washington, D.C. And he's an associate administrative of the Office of Entrepreneurial Development. Alan, that's a long title. I've known Alan for, Alan, 20 years maybe, a long time. And he has been dealing with entrepreneurs for a long, long time. So he understands it from the entrepreneur side of view. And he also is now in charge of really the implementation of a lot of the things that we're seeing in the news today. Today, we're going to be focusing on the economic injury disaster loan. We've had a lot of questions in EO, and I've been fielding a lot of questions from many of you. And so we thought we would just bring the best right from the very top to all of you. So Alan, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Can you hear me okay?
Yep, I can hear you just fine.
Thank you, Betty. Certainly, definitely, as you mentioned, always great to have the friendship and the partnership and to you, your commitment to small business. And to the community, and not only there in Los Angeles, but I know across the country and worldly. Sometimes I see you in other parts of the world. So certainly a lot of good stuff that you've been doing, and being the true connector and the passion that you have. I thought I'd do a couple things. First and foremost, clearly, from SBA standpoint, and the administrator in the White House, we recognize, the importance of small business, the loved ones, and all that is you're going through as challenges during the COVID situation and the virus and so forth. For us at SBA, certainly we, during the normal circumstances, day-to-day operations, we have, our access to capital division, our government contract business development, and then my division, which is the Office of Entrepreneurial Development. So a lot of kind of hand glove approach of passing the baton. They start through some of any of our offices across the country that want to start, grow, or expand their business. They go over to get capital access in that division to get loans, and then from there they continue to expand and then dibble into government contracting in the government space. So in a perfect, business cycle scenario, you see that happening. And then we have another division which calls the Office of Disaster Assistance, which, we've been more proactively, especially with the last couple of years with the major hurricanes and so forth, is to get the messaging out of that division and all the great work that they do during the needs of the American people in different circumstances. This is unprecedented because normally what happens in a disaster, you have it where it's a flood, an earthquake, a flooding and so forth, or a hurricane, and then we bring the team to the location of disaster and set up different resource centers and ability to help small business and homeowners and so forth. Clearly, this is a different unprecedented where we now have all 50 states that have declared a disaster and submitted the application to SBA and territories as well, and now are on our portal system for small businesses to apply, as Betty mentioned, for our economic injury disaster loan. Certainly that particular loan is a loan that is provides or offers up to $2 million in assistance for a small business to support their and help overcome their temporary loss of revenue that they are experiencing. It's a loan that can be used to pay fixed debt, payroll, accounts payable, other bills that can be paid during the disaster impact. And it's at an interest rate of 3.75 for small businesses with a term of repayment up to a maximum of 30 years. The terms of is determined on a case-by-case basis in terms of looking at the borrower's ability to repay from that standpoint. But certainly, all that opportunity for a small business to apply would be through the portal of SBA.gov/disaster. As most of you can imagine, certainly the peaks of traffic going to that site is just, leaps and bounds per the minute. Looking at back-end information, it's at some times during the day, it's overwhelmed, to be perfectly honest with all of you. What I would say to you or any of those that you have connections or that have reached out to you, please let them know. Be patient. We're aware of it. We're on it on an ongoing basis. 24/7 is something that the administrator is clearly is aware and knows that of all the needs and capacities for small business. In regards to, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Just a really quick question, and if you don't mind, I'm just going to ask you mention things that were mentioned yesterday where we had some questions. I'm just going to ask on this. I love the rate, by the way, 3.75. That's a really good rate. And then the repayment time, that's really clear. Two questions. One person yesterday dialed up that went ahead and applied the second part of March and hasn't heard anything. When should they expect to hear? That's the first question. And then the second question has to do with the contingencies with the disaster loan. Are there any contingencies with retainment of employees? And what does that look like?
Sorry, say the second part again. I wasn't clear.
What has been brought up in the past is that you can apply for a disaster loan, and it is utilized for payroll. And the whole idea is really to retain our employees as entrepreneurs. What if we don't retain? What if we have to furlough? What if we have to lay off some people? Is there any clawback on the loan?
No, I mean, in terms of it is right now, the economic injury disaster loan applies to what I mentioned, fixed debt, payroll, accounts payable, and other bills and so forth. So it's not, that one or the other. Certainly it's for a rate. When you go in there and apply, it gives you, there's different questions that relate to that in putting the information in there. So it's not that you'll get dinged on it, but certainly that's one of the provisions that's available for that small business to apply for that particular economic injury loan.
Okay. Somebody's saying. Go ahead.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Somebody applied for disaster last week, and now he was told to work directly with his bank and not apply for the SBA disaster loan. If he had decent financials for 2019, this person does have pretty good financials. He's already applied online, and he's now been told to apply through his bank. Does he have to pull the loan and then apply through his bank, or leave it where it's at?
Well, a couple things on that. One is that the current disaster loan that was the bill that the president signed a week or so ago has an amount of $7 billion available through this economic injury disaster loan, available for small businesses to apply to a maximum of $2 million in assistance. There is, on an ongoing basis, when it's a business as usual, I mentioned in terms of our Office of Capital Access, where we, the agency, do not process the loan, but we work very closely with the lending institution, with banks and credit unions and so forth, where there's that ongoing lane that's available, that's appropriated dollars. That lane has right now $18 billion available on an ongoing basis. So a business, if they have strong financials and so forth, they're more than welcome to apply through that lane as well from that standpoint for that. I'm going to jump the gun a little bit because I think I know what the next question might be. Well, I've heard a lot of things going on with the current bill that's being discussed and that was passed by the Senate last night. It's going to the House today, and most likely, hopefully today or the latest by tomorrow morning. I haven't been online recently. I've just been on calls left and right, but it's once that is sent to the president, there will be additional information that us as SBA will be able to disseminate to far and wide on other avenues to be available for small businesses in relates to the lanes per se that they can choose. As it stands as of today, we are talking about the economic injury disaster loan, but there will be some additional lanes available in the near future once the bill is approved and then the president signs it. Hopefully that helps out.
Okay. One more question with regards to the economic injury disaster loan. Is there a personal guarantee required with this one? I've heard both. The individual will not be denied anything above $25,000 on the first stake on it. There will be some collateral that will be needed. However, it does not necessarily mean that they will be declined on it. It'll be on a case-by-case basis that they will work on with the individual from that standpoint. So overall, the first 25, the collateral is not a prerequisite, but then the individual small business it goes up for additional more, then there will be some requirement to produce as it relates for collateral purposes. Okay, wonderful. Thank you.
It's more, to be perfectly honest with you, it's more of a pledge of available collateral, to be honest with you.
Okay, so it's not necessarily a personal guarantee. It's pledging, it's saying, yes, I do own a secondary form of repayment. But you're not actually signing that you're personally guaranteeing it, correct?
And the thing I would say is that remember, once this current bill moves forward and is signed by the president, there'll be some other additional relief points for the small business as well.
So with that in mind, Alan, if I am an entrepreneur who's already applied for the disaster recovery loan, and I want to apply for a 7A or I want to apply for something else once the president signs the new bill, does the loan that I've already applied for preclude me? One. Two, am I going to, is the SBA going to merge the two loans or give me another loan? How does that work operationally for somebody who's looking into getting some more financing?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. We will have some additional guidance for all small businesses. And I know, sorry to be very vague to a certain degree, but once it's signed by the president, then we will have all the additional guidance as it relates to this particular question, because there are some provisions in the bill that relate to your question as it relates to loans, one on the economic injury, and I apply, like you said, on a 7A with the new different regs involved. And so we will have that available in terms of guidance once everything is signed by the president.
Right. And just so everybody knows here, Alan has graciously agreed to join us once the bill is signed by the president to provide some clarity. So Alan, just so that we can have a sense of timing, say if the president is able to sign by the end of this week, how soon after the president signs the bill would you be able to join us at this group to provide some clarity?
Yeah, let's definitely work on it. I'd love to be available. The goal is next week. I would say probably Monday and Tuesday would conservatively not be the best days, but I would like to have as much information available, not only by a call and Zoom like we're doing today, but also hard print available information to send to all of you, that Betty, that you can disseminate out to your network. That gives all the ABCs of the new lanes that will be available for the small businesses.
Okay, beautiful. So why don't we tentatively plan on having you, we're thinking that the president might be able to sign either today, well, if the Senate approves it today, then he would be able to sign it today or tomorrow. So if that would be the case, to give you some time to dissect the information and to get clarity for us, maybe Wednesday or Thursday of next week, maybe a week from today?
Yeah, something like that would definitely, certainly. I mean, we're just, it's not that we're waiting for the bill to be signed, and then we'll start drafting up the FAQs and everything. I mean, we've already been working on it, but certainly the way, obviously protocol and so forth, as most of you know, or just kind of an FYI for everybody, certainly always wait for the president and the bill to, with the respect of the Congress, to them to fully vote on the bill and then send to the desk of the president to sign. And then that creates that trigger point for us to be able to start disseminating and working, with all stakeholders like all yourselves that are on the call right now, to provide additional information that relates to the bill and how it will help small businesses get back on gear for their business and also for their employees.
Yeah, that makes sense. Michael is asking, meanwhile, is there a place where we can actually look at the bill and what's being presented? I know that kind of the rules changed a little bit in the way that Congress was taking a look at it. But is there, now that we're up at the Senate, is there a place where we can actually look it up?
It's always, it's a great question. I'm laughing about it because it's like not a landmine, but it's like a, what do you call it? When you're going through a cornfield and trying to get out, right? How do I get there, right, to the exit? Yeah. As you Google or use any other search engine, if you go into the Senate appropriators website, then I'm sure normally that they have the PDF version of the bill, and you'll be able to see it, what was voted last night. It's around, let me see here. I mean, it's a good several. It's like 100. Well, the overall written stuff, but that's my recommendation, is to go through the Senate. You Google it, Senate appropriators, or you can Google and say, COVID-19, and it should come up.
I found it. I'll make it available. I'll put it up at for EOers. I'll put the bill up on the EO chat, and then for the rest of you, I'll do the same, because I invited you from different groups. So I'll post it for everybody. I just found it. Thanks, Alan.
Some of it's very wonky, but and like for us or any of the other agencies that might, just for edification, it will. So like for anything SBA related, it's going to relay back to the Small Business Act. So basically on some of the things that were put in the bill, is to strike what's in statute or what's rules for us as an agency in the Small Business Act. So you'll see some of that will reference that. And Small Business Act, 1 point, blah, 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 strike this word with that word or this paragraph with that. That's why you'll see some of that. And you'll see that in other agency language as well in that particular, just kind of a heads up for all of you. When you see all that, it can get kind of confusing to a certain degree if you start reading through all that.
Yeah, but entrepreneurs, everybody wants to know now.
Yeah, that's all right. It's good. good.
So definitely. Yeah, we'll take a look at it. Alan, in a previous conversation we had earlier this week, you mentioned, earlier in this conversation, you mentioned bringing the team to the disaster areas, and you mentioned some areas that you've got uh, where you're getting either pods or groups of people in areas where you have leaders to come in. Can you tell us a little bit about that? Because I think that will be additional resources for everyone.
Yeah, what I would say is that, it's a different circumstance now, right? In the sense, we are, everything's being done more virtually, to be honest with you, both from the application process, which is always done online, but from a standpoint of our district directors and our team in the 68 district offices across the country, availability, they're all on telework, working from home and being readily available. I would say that on our website on SBA.gov/local assistance, it's a very interactive portal there. You type in your zip code and do a drop-down screen that you're looking for the district office, and it will give you the website, phone number, and all the information of that local district office and emails for the team that you can reach out directly, and they will be the first point of contact to be available for you. We also have our resource partners, which I oversee, which is the Small Business Development Centers, the Women Business Centers, and the SCORE Network, which is volunteer network that are there to help and assist in counseling and training. They are available too as well in every local district across the country. So we're working very hand in hand with the district offices, our resource partners, to be available and assist the small businesses in any questions or any anxiety or anything that they need assistance and guidance on an ongoing basis. So we are actively working on all that. There is language in the bill that relates additional funding for the resource partners that are under my division, that we'll be working with them and having them also even exponentially be more available on an ongoing basis to assist all small businesses in this situation.
Thank you. Alan, there's someone asking about the categories when we go on the SBA.gov/local assistance. There are different categories. There's one that says business physical disaster, economic injury disaster loan. There's no category available for economic turndown. So would it be the economic injury disaster loan? Is that the one?
Yeah, that would be it in terms of it, yes.
Okay, there you go, Chats. Okay, does anybody have any questions? You can unmute yourself at this point and ask any questions you may have, or is there anything else from you, Alan, that you wanted to bring to the team at this point?
No, I would say, thank you, Betty, for your leadership. All those that are on the call right now and Zoom, certainly, we understand and recognize, all the anxiety, the uncertainty and so forth. Rest assured, certainly from the leadership of my boss, Administrator Carranza, and the White House, that we are every minute working day in and day out on on everything. So with that being said, we have internally a strong task force team that's just a little TMI to you guys. The task force team last night left at 12:30 at night, and we're back at it today at 7 a.m. So anything that you see as a challenge or so forth, please send them to Betty, and Betty can feel free to send it to me, and we'll definitely run it up the flagpole if I can't take care of it and get the right information or clarification. I know I was on a call the other day, and an individual, for some reason, the systems are systems, and sometimes they have some bugs on it. The individual was from Illinois, and he applied, and he got confirmation that he was applying from Indiana. I ran it at the flagpole and had someone take care of that on the back end and make sure that it was from the right state and so forth. So certainly we want to get to all of them as much as possible. As it relates to the website, I will say, again, frankly, like I mentioned in the beginning, it's inundated, and hang tight on that aspect. But on other situations, let Betty know, and I'll be glad to take a look and be helpful as much as I can.
Alan, there's another question here about the online portal. It seems like the website changed in the last week or so. Is that correct? Somebody started their application. Okay.
It partly is because of the traffic that is being generated. That there is a different back end that's being done.
So just like you were able to, oh my gosh, Alan, I'm going to put you on the spot here.
Sorry, I can't hear you right now.
You're so funny. If there's someone that has been waiting for a long time, and there could possibly be something that like what happened with your Indiana person. I mean, we don't know what happened in the back end if somebody's been just waiting for a long time. Would it be okay if I send you that name or that name of the company, and for you to just take a look at it? Because I would hate for someone to get lost in the shuffle, or how do we handle something like that? Because someone on March 16th, and he has gotten nothing.
My first thing is they get a confirmation that it was submitted overall.
Okay.
And that would be one thing. If they haven't, I know that unfortunately on some individuals they were in the process, and maybe the system went down, or they're the other thing that had, I'm not saying this is the only excuse, but the other things that have happened recently too is like the individuals are applying from a location where there's a lot of traffic, with everybody being online, and things are getting slowed down by their internet service provider and so forth. We've seen some of that happen too, where maybe that doesn't go through all the way in. So there's a lot of different variables, I would say if there anything that comes up that you're experienced, take a screenshot of it, send it to Betty, because that's also helpful. And that we look at it on a day-to-day basis. If it's something that's happening more on a regional basis, locally, or if it's far across the country, that it's a reoccurring for somebody that is experiencing that. That's one thing. In regards to the individual, they applied, you said, on March 12th. We are saying that within standard is within, a period of 14 to 20 days. I would say just hang tight a little bit more on that aspect, and see by Monday. If not, then definitely, let me know, and I'll see what I can do on seeing what the status, or to make sure at least they're in the system.
Okay, that's fine. There's someone else that submitted an application and got the confirmation, but this person couldn't upload the documents, Alan, so they Federal Express them directly to the SBA. So when do you think, how does that happen then? Because he can't get a confirmation online, sent it on FedEx.
Can you, on that one, can you send me by email that information on that individual?
Yeah.
And I'll run that one up the flagpole.
I'll do that. So this person does have my, just get a hold of me through WhatsApp if you have any issues, and I will redirect it.
And that individual, what address they sent it to, and on their end, did they get confirmation that was received? That'd be helpful too.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, I'll get the data you need, and I'll send that to you. Does anybody else have any questions? Feel free to unmute yourself. We have a little bit of time for questions. So if you have any questions, feel free to, or any comments.
Thank you so much for your help. I have a quick question. So I was one of the people that submitted on the 16th, and I haven't gotten any response yet. And then I used to be able to go up till 2 days ago to the disaster loan website, disasterloan.sba.gov, and I was able to log in and see. And now it's saying you can't do that anymore. It's saying you have to call to see the status. Did you guys take away that functionality?
We didn't take it away, but it is, as Betty had mentioned, there on the back end, pivoting with some of the platforms in the back end. So hold tight on that. I would say that, and I'll write myself a note to follow up on that for you guys. But hold tight. In the sense of getting status on that, I will double check for you guys on that aspect. But I know that on the back end we're doing some stuff. Just for the innovation of everything.
Thank you.
Good morning. This is Ash Abdulati from California Bank and Trust. Thank you again very much for giving us the great information this morning. Question, who is actually providing the funds? Are banks providing the funds, or is the SBA providing the funds directly from the government?
The economic injury disaster loan that we've been talking about this morning is related to it's a direct loan from SBA via Treasury to the small business owner. The small business owner will then be making the payments and so forth in the future, because if you get approved, you got a 6-month deferment right away on it. So just FYI, that's another part of it the administrator included on this economic injury disaster loan. In regards to what's being voted on the Hill, in Congress and to be sent to the president to sign. Once he signs it, there'll be additional language and information that we'll be able to provide to all of you and to the lending institution as it relates to other lanes that will be available, and the partnership between SBA and with you, the lending institution, in providing these additional lanes to small business owners.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thanks, Ash. Good question. Anybody else?
Yeah, this is Shane talking. I was the one that was asking about the partially completed online application where I've uploaded a bunch of documentation, but hadn't finished it, and what the process is in that regard.
So you're in the process of uploading it, but you haven't yet, sir? Is that what you're referring to?
I've uploaded, say half the forms, but I still need to get some more forms to upload. And I was using the online portal, and now I don't know how to access it to find out what I've uploaded, or do I have to redo everything and start from the beginning?
Okay. Can you send your information to Betty, and then I'm writing this down too from the task force. So you created your password, your login. You had submitted things, and then you're uploading additional information. You want to go back in there and submit additional. You're not able to get back to that site that you were using before.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
Just send it to me. I just texted you my email address, and also
Perfect. Thank you.
I'll put it directly to Alan for you.
All right. Thank you.
Anybody else?
Yes, Betty, this is Mercedes. I have a question. First and foremost, Betty, thank you for aligning your just your support and your knowledge and putting this together, because a lot of us have a lot of questions. So thank you, both of you, for doing that. My question, Alan, is a two-part question. I'm having the same problems that the gentleman was having as far as a strategy application, and finding the place to upload your documents is an issue. So I would like clarification on that. But my question, in addition to that, is with this new bill being passed, is there an issue if we're applying for an SBA loan and additional relief that may be available through other sources? Will you be affected if you're applying for this loan and any additional bills that may be available? Will one affect the other?
We will. No, it's a great question, and certainly. And sorry to sound like a broken record on this part, but once it's signed by the president, we will have more guidance to all of you as it relates to the additional lanes that will be available for all of you or small businesses to apply, and how does that relate to if you've already applied for an economic injury disaster loan that's currently available. So I don't want to get ahead of the game, but I also want to make sure we'll have that guidance for all of you. Rest assured, that's on the plate.
Got it. And Alan, I guess my question is more, will it affect us negatively? So for those of us that are in the process of trying to upload documents like this gentleman, should we just complete the process, or should it be more of a wait and see, in your professional opinion?
No, it shouldn't affect you negatively at all. Certainly, we see, the thing is that if we take a step back, once the second bill was signed by the president, that enabled this infusion of the $7 billion on the economic injury disaster loan. At that point in time, that was the only, and is currently right now, the only disaster loan available through SBA. Clearly, now with this third bill that's going through Congress and going to get to the president's desk to sign, then there's other factors that are going to be included. So when this was done, it wasn't thought of or on the table that there was going to be another bill approved. Now that we know, certainly we'll have all those guidance for all of you as it relates to, okay, I got approved on the injury disaster loan with you. Now I understand I have these other two lanes that I can think of also to apply. That will all be taken in consideration. We'll have additional guidance for all of you.
So,
Perfection.
Alan,
Thank you.
To Mercedes' point here, though, I would imagine that you're going to be taking a look at the leverage of the company and the expenses and all of that for both loans. So if somebody already has a loan and not a grant, but a loan, and they apply for another loan, then you're going to take a look at the aggregate leverage of that company, correct? So in essence, I think what Mercedes is asking is, will it affect her business negatively in trying to apply for another one? I guess it would be exactly the same as if she were to apply for both at the same time, because the second time you're going to take a look at the debt for the first disaster loan, and you're going to include that into your calculation when you calculate how much money the company can take from a loan perspective, unless the second piece is a grant, correct?
Well, I don't want to get into the minutia on those. I'd rather wait till everything is formally rolled out, so there's no confusion at the time being, because again, it hasn't been signed by the president. I really want to, I think in best interest, wait for that, because and then we'll have the right guidance for all of you on that, on the ins and outs on it. So that would be the best bet. I'd rather not get into like all the like you're referring to, Betty, on that, because there's some different variables, and that's being taken account for, so that we'll have that all for you guys very, very soon for you guys once it's signed.
Okay. So much for trying to get an inside scoop. You can't blame me for trying.
It's all right. I mean, I did pivot, so
You did. Thank you.
You did.
I guess my training on what is it, media training is coming into good works right now. I'm being funny, but I'm here to answer as many questions as I can to all of you. But I just that's where I was on this TMI for all of you. I was on a call with my staff earlier this morning, and some of that question came up, and I was like, we can't yet. We got to wait till everything is approved, that then we can definitely do that. So I think once we get it, rest assured, I'll send it to Betty. She can send it out far and wide to all of you in terms of how that all is going to work in that aspect.
Okay. Wonderful. So I just put in the group chat my email address for all of you. And if you'll just put on the signature line for SBA, because I get a lot of emails from a lot of different directions every day. I do not want to miss out on your email, because that would be horrific if I did. So I will respond to you as soon as I get it and forward it to Alan, so that you know that I've responded. And as soon as I've sent it, I will let you know I've sent it directly to Alan. Does anybody have any other questions at this point?
I have a quick question, but Dr. Betty, good morning. Dr. Brigitte Rosenberg. First of all, thank you for the call and for all this amazing, valuable information. My question is, do you suggest we contact someone on in a local level to help with all of that, with applying for any of the loans, and that local person will guide an individual of what fits their need for their business? Is there anything like that that's available?
There is. It's a two-prong approach. Certainly, like I mentioned in our the local assistance tab at SBA.gov, give you the listing of the district office. It's available, and the phone and email for each staff person there. But right below it, you'll see where it says resource partners, and it gives you a direct link to small business development centers, women business centers, and SCORE counselors as well that could be available online or by webinar and so forth, to help you on any questions you might have in that aspect. So certainly, a lot of them are working, as remotely, so they're available and up and running remotely. Definitely, that would be my recommendation.
Okay. Thank you.
Good question, Bridget. Anyone else? Okay, so we went ahead and recorded this call, and as soon as we're able to get the call back from Zoom, we're going to put it up on YouTube. And for those of you from EO, we're going to send it to the EO chat as well. And for those of you from the other chats, I'll go ahead and send that to you as well. This way, and feel free to share this widely. This way we can get the right information to a lot of people. There was somebody who unmuted themselves, and I'm wondering if you have a question. Okay, I think that's good. All right, so if no more questions, thank you so much for joining. Alan, you have been amazing throughout this entire thing, just so you know. Alan and I have been talking, and Monica from yesterday, that for those of you who dialed up to yesterday's call or who didn't get to dial up yesterday's call, we're getting ready to upload that call to my YouTube channel, and then we'll also go ahead and send it out so that you all have it. We'll do the same with this particular call, and it'll include the Q&A so that you can share this. And I ask you, please share this with other entrepreneurs. The whole idea is to get the very best information to as many people across the nation as possible. So we're sharing this at a national level as well. And Alan, thank you so much. I know that you're extremely busy, and for you to take an hour out of your day all the way from Washington, D.C., you report directly to Administrator Jovita Carranza, who is doing a phenomenal job in really looking out for all of us entrepreneurs and for making sure that everybody is made whole. So we are going to pencil you in, Alan, next week on Thursday at the same time. And this could change, but just put it on your calendar, pencil it in your calendar. But provided the president is able to sign the new bill, we will be back with Alan next week. And I know Monica also dialed up, and she said to tell you, thank you so much, because you've been working with Monica as well. We'll bring Monica on board too. So I see Kevin, and I see some of my EO buddies online. So I guess we'll take a picture. So do a big smile, because we're going to take a picture so we can post it out on the EO channel.
Yes.
Okay, show us your face. Yep, here we go. Come on.
Betty, you're the best, Betty.
Hey, Kevin, you're the best. Are you kidding? Come on, Kevin, come on.
Come on.
There we go. Come on.
Office is on for you.
Maya, there we go.
Come on.
There's your face. We're going to take a picture. As many of you as possible. Hold
there we
on.
go.
Yeah, there we go. Some more. We'll just wait 30 seconds. Come on, 20 seconds. Okay, there's some pictures being put up.
I'm loving it.
Steve,
yeah, I'm loving it too. Here we go. So we've got
Betty, I'm going to log off. Thank you very much. I want to wish everybody be safe out there, and we stand ready at SBA under Administrator Carranza to continue to assist all small businesses and their employees.
You do,
Alan. You're the best.
Alan, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you,
the picture.
Betty.
Okay, smile, 1, 2, 3. And we've got another page. Hold on, because there's 2 pages of pictures here. Okay, here we go. Okay, guys, got it. I'll send the picture out.
All right, perfect.
You're so
Thank
fun.
you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so
Bye-bye.
much.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Thank you, Betty. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Betty. You're the
Betty.
best.
Bye.
Bye-bye.